Was poppin', was poppin', was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And on this episode, let me just show you real quick. Let me just show you, Moose. Moose,
Pull 'em out.
we
Pull
may
'em out.
have
What up?
a special guest. I don't know, bestseller, New York Times bestseller. Okay.
Couple times.
Still number one motivational speaker in the world. Moose, I go crazy. Moose.
No, listen. I had to look this up. What Fab say? Do it one time, they're gonna think it's luck.
Right.
So we had to hit them with the repeat, right? Do it 2 times, they might still doubt. And now I got a 3-peat. This is the 3rd time the one and only is coming back with us, y'all. So, hey, listen, you already know who it is, man. The one and only, Dr. E.T. the hip-hop preacher Thomas will be on this episode.
Let's get into this intro.
2 kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
And before we get into this episode is powered by Ecamm Live, the #1 all-in-one streaming platform that allows you to not only make it look like Nicky and Moose, you can do audio isolation, video isolation, stream on all your favorite social media platforms, be able to produce a whole show with a click of a button. And if you want 14 days for free, go to www.nickyandmoose.com/ecamm. That's ECAMM. You feel me? Now, I can't wait. He can't wait. Let's just get him in the building.
Just
E.T. the hip-hop preacher. What's poppin'?
You owe you. What it do? Hey, I gotta say this before we get started. Of course, I communicate with you guys on a regular basis, but y'all have been so consistent at the Nicky and Moose, podcast where, we just gonna introduce you to your favorite brands, right? And really break down, the strategies and, the traits, right? Of the great so that people can duplicate it in their own personal brand. That I realized, I can't call them. It's Tuesday night. You feel what I'm saying? So congratulations for doing it so long and so consistent that now it's a part of my, in my brain, there's a space that knows you can't call at this time because they on the show doing their thing. So shout out to y'all. Y'all know how my brain work. I'm not really it's hard to get something in my brain. So you got to do it consistently for a long period of time. So congratulations to y'all for having an idea and then actually turning that idea into a reality.
Appreciate that. Yo, over 100 episodes, and we had you at episode 10.
Wow.
Moose, remember that?
That's
Wow.
real. Absolutely.
Yeah, we had at episode 10. But Moose, start this off.
Yeah, man. Listen, we have to go. We have to go right here. We have to start right here. This is the real deal, Holyfield, man. I just want you to tell us, obviously, for those who don't know, E.T. released this book in September. All right. It was his first
September
time releasing.
2022.
Yeah, September 2022, exactly. This year, September of 2022. And it was the first time that he wrote a book with a major publisher. So for those of you who didn't know, I don't know where you've been, and if you're listening to this at a later time, this book right here is definitely not your first book. It's not the first time that you've written a book, but there was a completely different E.T. that we saw and heard in this version of the book. So obviously, close to 100,000 copies sold so far in less than 3 months. New York Times bestseller. We've hit a lot of milestones, but I just want you to talk us through, man, like what was different about writing this one than what you felt with the other ones?
Well, really, this is the essence of you guys' show. But the other ones, we weren't necessarily concerned about our brand. So the other one wasn't like written with a brand perspective. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, we weren't thinking about how it would impact or affect us, in our legacy. We were more writing for, our audience that followed us, whether it was Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So our focus was them with the Secret to Success book. Greatness is upon you, and average skill, phenomenal will, and you ain't the boss of me. So all those books were written with, our audience in mind. This book was written with us also in mind.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. And I hope that makes sense, Moose. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah.
Absolutely.
now, my question is, was the bestseller, New York Times bestseller list always the goal when writing this book? Or was there another goal and then they said, hey, you got a chance to be on here. You're like, all right, let's focus on that. Like what was the goal of writing UOU?
Yeah. So, again, guys, when you talk about brand, I think one of the things that has to happen if you're going to have a consistent, successful brand, it has to be intentionality. And I think what a lot of people do wrong with their brand is they have like 8 or 9 different focuses.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And diluted focus gets diluted results. You know what I'm saying? So for us, it was just a New York Times bestseller. Like it was no other, you know what I'm saying? It was like no other goal. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the goal. Now, if there's a sub goal, that sub goal might have been to write a classic, to write that one book that everybody's gonna know you for. You know what I'm saying? But we weren't trying to just write a book that everybody was gonna know us for. It was, we have to hit the New York Times bestsellers list for the sake of the brand. And when I talk about that, for those of you who are like, okay, well, help that to make sense, because we're never gonna write a book or we're not in that industry. So in life, unfortunately, we live in a very merit-based society, right? And there's pecking orders. Right. So in academia, it's a master's degree, it's a PhD. So if you work at a major university, you cannot be a professor without at least having a master's degree. But you cannot really become tenure without a PhD. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a pecking order. So in the world of speaking, in the world of doing keynotes, one of the things that you'll notice that people who get an opportunity to keynote at the highest level, and individuals who make the most money, they are authors and they write books that make it on the New York Times bestsellers list. Now, you also have the LA Times, which we hit. You also have the USA Today, which we hit. And you also have the Wall Street Journal. So those are all milestones. But oftentimes when you make the New York Times bestseller, that's the PhD. So you don't necessarily talk about the LA Times, the USA Today, the Wall Street Journal, right? We were fortunate enough to hit 3 of those. Now, we would have hit the Wall Street Journal because we did sell enough books and we hit enough categories, but the book wasn't. And again, guys, this is branding. This is important. We believe that one of the things that did not happen for us that should have happened for us, and it's a debate between us and the publishing company, but it was not coded as a business book. So you'll notice that we hit number 1 in ethnic studies. You'll notice we hit number 1 in motivation. You know what I'm saying? You'll notice that there were, entrepreneurship, there were things that we hit. But because our book wasn't coded as a business book, we weren't qualified, even though our numbers qualified us, we weren't coded properly. But we would have hit the Wall Street Journal as well. And so all of this is important when you talk about your brand, because it's another stamp. It's a, I got 10,000 people follow me on Instagram. I got 50,000. I got 100,000. I got 200,000. So again, for the sake of branding, we knew that if we hit the New York Times bestsellers list, it would put us in a distinguished group, a distinguished company of people, and it would allow us to leverage the brand in a way we couldn't leverage it without a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always said one of my favorite things about you is, regardless of how much you accomplish, you always stay a student. And with this book, I saw you go back into student mode heavy. You had multiple coaches. There was a team around the launch of the book. There was a strategy of, hey, let's collaborate. And you collaborated probably on this book more than ever before. So I look at those two as additional ingredients: coaching, regardless of how much you achieve, and collaborate to get to the next level. Break that down. Was that also a part of the strategy going into UOU?
Well, I think, guys, just even listening to you guys' podcast, and I think for me, why this podcast is so important, because it's specifically around branding. And a lot of individuals want to go to the next level, but they don't understand branding 101. You feel me? I didn't. And I continue to study branding because, we were a phenom, meaning that we didn't necessarily follow any branding strategy and we still blew up. But the challenge with that is we may have blown up in terms of recognition, but because we didn't brand properly or we weren't brand strategists, we didn't necessarily get all of the benefits that come with blowing up. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we may have gotten the numbers, but we didn't necessarily get the numbers. You feel me?
Right.
So now for me, I'm looking at it as, well, what is branding about? In essence, branding is about understanding your unique position in the world, your unique gift. Like, it's this idea of, like, you have this gift, and you'll read that in the book. Like, you got this gift, you got this superpower. But one of the things that I realized is that, and again, I grew up watching cartoons. And if you've noticed, there's a progression in cartoons, especially in branding. So when I grew up, superheroes primarily were seen on an individual basis, even though they were all a part of either Marvel's, the X-Men, the Super Friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever it was, they were a part of a conglomerate, but we pretty much saw them, doing their Superman the movie, Batman the movie. But if you pay attention in this generation, you'll see way more movies where they are collectively demonstrating their gifts. You feel me? So it's like the Marvels, it's Captain America, it's Batman, it's Superman, it's Wonder Woman. You feel me? Wakanda, Black Panther. You feel me? And so I realized that if the idea is branding, and branding is about, how do I say this? Branding, from my understanding, is about visibility. You know what I'm saying? It's about as many people as you possibly can, getting them to become familiar with your product, to see if they want to, at some point, become a brand ambassador, or use your product. So it's like, yo, if you're going to get more eyes on your product, then it probably makes sense to get more people who have a brand and who have a gift to collaborate with you, so that it can expand more so than it would if you just did it on the solo. So you go from adding and subtracting to multiplying and dividing, to really getting to a point of exponential growth. You feel me? And so I was like, yo, if I'm going to blow the brand up, I have to get with other people who are either savvy of brands or people who have the ability to accentuate your brand, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes all the sense. Now, Moose talked about from like the coaching and the team thing, but you're also collaborating. I'm seeing you more on podcasts than ever before. Like, I've never seen you collaborate with so many different people. And is this more just for this project? Because we got to get the brand expanded. So the more that I shake hands, kiss babies, that's what's going to bring eyes to this? Or is this more of I got relationships with these people, they asked me, let's do it? Or is it a bit of both?
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that, Nikki. You good, Jada? I think initially it was for the book.
Yeah.
Just being real, because like you said, you ain't never seen me on. You've never seen me on any by these podcasts. And if I was, Nikki, it was probably like Sean Stevens.
Yep.
It's like people that's a part of the community, you guys.
Mhm.
But I realized, looking at the algorithm and what it takes, because now we're reverse engineering. What does it take for the New York Times bestsellers list?
Mhm.
Right? And this is a part of brand strategy. It does not take 40,000 books only. It takes 40,000 individual books.
Mm.
Like you can't have you and your homie buy 10,000 copies of the book. And then they say you sold 40,000 books. No. They have to see individuals, 40,000 individuals bought the book.
Yeah.
Right? And so then if we're going to get 40,000 individuals, well, we may not be able to get 40,000 of ET people to get the book. We might not. I don't know. But let's not take a chance. So now I don't do some of the major things, Nikki, because we also have to understand when we talk about brand strategy that what works universally may not necessarily work for you.
Yeah.
You feel me? So it's just like it's just not like one size fits all. So you'll find a lot of people, and I had the opportunity to do some major stuff. But for me, Nikki, it's like, why would I go on this from a strategy standpoint? Why would I fly all over the world to get on a major network and get maybe 3 minutes at best?
That's true.
I don't even know if I can get my message across in 3 minutes, if that makes sense. I don't even know if I can do that. So now we're talking about wasting time. We're talking about wasting money, resources. Like, it's not, but I was strategic and was like, I can get on my boy Ed Milet's podcast and we can go for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And you got plenty of time to learn who ET is in an hour and decide if you want to get this book or not. 3 minutes from a branding standpoint is not advantageous to my extroverted style because it take me a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not a sniper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It take me a minute. We got the court. We got the, you know what I'm saying? We got to spend some time. And so I think I probably only did about maybe 8 podcasts at best. Probably did about 8 podcasts, but it still looked like a lot because I don't never do podcasts. You feel me? So I did about 8 podcasts. I probably did about maybe 2 or 3 Instagram lives. And of course, Nikki, you with Deeper Than the Brand was a part of that brand strategy as well. How do we strategically use Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, TikTok to really get the visibility out? And you did a phenomenal job, you and the squad, just in terms of keeping it before, everybody. So yeah, for the most part, I definitely was strategic about it. I'm at an age where I'm not at the beginning of my career, so I'm not necessarily interested in being on the road like that. And I'm unfortunately make good money. So it's like, I'm not about to make a couple $100,000. I'm not necessarily interested in being on somebody's show, for 3 minutes. And then flying Didi all over the world, I'm not necessarily interested in that. And a couple of them I did, the majority of them I did Zoom. You feel me? Or Ecamm, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ecamm, who powers this podcast, you know what I'm saying? So
that's right.
we use this format so I didn't have to be on the road and we were able to get it done.
What about from a business standpoint too? There was I'm sure some business knowledge, some business acumen that has come from the process, just let alone the process, not even the profit side of this. What were some business lessons that came from the process of writing UOU?
Well, you know what? I got to go back to Nikki's question. I got to answer the second part, Nikki. I apologize. But if you noticed, to your point, yes, the podcast initially was for the book. Absolutely, 1,000%. But Nikki, as I saw the success of the book and the collaboration that made it happen, you notice I went into the speakers industry, not as ET, but ET Inky Jeremy.
Yes.
So I did expand like, oh, no. Okay, I see we got to do everything with everybody. And I told Alex and Jeremy this too. Justin Owens, I told them, I said, what's crazy? I literally watch you guys, Circle of CEO, and others collab. And I know you guys got your own thing. but I even saw the benefit of that. You look at Earn Your Leisure, you look at Troy and Shad, you know what I'm saying? And I was fortunate enough to watch them. That shout out to, Earn Your Leisure. Of course, that was one of the podcasts that I got on, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that moved the needle, as well. So I watched those bros, and I'm seeing what they doing, and I'm like, oh yeah, E, you need to do it. And I'll be honest, we all have blind spots. I would have never called Jeremy or Inky because they was doing their thing. And I wouldn't even think that they would even want to work with, but it only makes sense. Like, I've mentored them. It only makes sense that we're already family. It only makes sense that, the synergy is already there. Jeremy and I have been knowing each other for 30 years. His children are my godchildren. Inky, and CJ and I have always coached Inky up. And while, of course, he's a talent of his own, we've been instrumental. And so it's like, why not benefit from the family? You're already family. So definitely, Nicky, I'm definitely looking at collaboration in a way I've never looked at it before. It's always been internal, like us doing our thing and helping each other with our brands but now it's like, oh, no. We need to actually collab with other entities to take this thing to the next level. So absolutely. But to your point, Moose, I believe we eat our own cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally eat our own cooking. Like, we don't season it and chop it up just to sell or to serve to other people. We eat our own cooking. And it's good. And so for me, from the flight assessment, I really paid a lot of attention in the last few years just about the actual natural flow of a pilot, flight attendant, grounds crew, and air traffic control. There's a natural flow. There is a natural chemistry, right? And so as I watched and paid attention, I was like, yo, the air traffic controller is the person who initiates the process of that whole flight experience. Like, they are the ones that decide the flow chart of seating. They make sure that a document is created in terms of if all the equipment is where it needs to be. They create the journey. If you're going northeast to get there, if you're going, north, if you're going east, north, you know what I'm saying? Like, they do the GPS, they do everything. When you take off, how high you fly, when you land. And I started looking at my life, Moose, and I was like, yo, E, it's out of order. You're not starting this way. And when you look at successful businesses, they start with a plan. They literally start with an engineer, and they don't go, what's the idea only? They go, what's the framework to put that idea in? And so when we started the process, Rory was the company that we went with, thanks to Anthony Flynn. And so Rory, bro, I ain't never done this in my life. Literally, I met with Rory. We probably spent almost 9 months to a year together, talking multiple hours a day. And he must have sent 14 pages of notes every day through text. But it was the step by step by step by step by step. And one of the things that I realized is you can go fast, but not go far. And you can be methodical and take your time and create a structure, and you can go far. So it's like, you want to go fast and just be like grabbing the plane and just taking the blank off on your plane, or you want to kind of get some, like, I didn't know this, but during Thanksgiving of 2021, they showed a chart that had 10,000 planes flying at the exact same time in America. There were 10,000 flights that were out. And they showed it like on the news. You saw all these planes. Bro, you can't do that. That type of complexity has to have structure. And so for me, my brand was always, yo, we do a video, we post that joker. You feel what I'm saying? And I talk loud, we put some B-roll, we put some music to it, and we let it do what it do. And that works. I'm not saying it doesn't work. What I am telling you is you don't get the most out of it. It's not the most effective and efficient way. And so one of the things that I've learned is like, yo, anything you do, listen to me, yo. It hurts me to even say it. I asked the publishing company, how long is this book process gonna take? And they told me 2 years. I said, what? You can have 2 babies and a half in that amount of time. Like, what are we doing? Like, what's taking so long? But it took a year writing, and my writing coach, it took a year, like, to really, like, get everything out, get the structure, make it succinct. And I also decided, based on the assessment, because I am how do I say this? I'm naturally wired as a pilot flight attendant. And so I made my choice to not get myself because I didn't want the book to only speak to extroverts. I wanted it to speak to everybody. So I chose somebody who was a high air traffic control, grounds crew, so that the book itself would have it would be energetic yet succinct. It would be explosive, yet provide clarity. It would be strong, but yet it'll also demonstrate steps so that as you read it, you could go, oh, this is what I need to be doing. So before this, I just put you in a position where you can run through a wall. This time, I put you in a position to know which wall to run through.
That's good.
And how to run through the wall. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want you to know how to run through the wall. And so that's, I think, from a business standpoint, that's what I picked up working with Rory. And then, of course, and listen to me, y'all got to hear this. It literally cost me maybe $30,000 for that process. And then Roy was like, here's the blueprint. Like, literally, Moose, here's the blueprint. I wish I had it, but from my home, I'm getting the backyard done. It was literally about 89 pages of stuff for the construction people to know what to do. It's like 80. I'm like, bro, it take that many? That's a lot. But that's what it took. It's like 89 pages worth of stuff. And so it's just layered so you know exactly what to do. And so he gave me the document. It was like, oh, that ain't it. Now you need to hire people to do the work. So I probably spent $193,000, which is important for you guys to understand because you're going to get it done and do it right when you spend $193. For a lot of you, your challenge is you haven't spent any money. And I've learned that a part of the business knowledge I walked away with, if you don't have anything to lose, you're probably not going to put 120% in it.
Mm.
That's what I learned. Like, one of the things I learned from these individuals is like, bro, if you don't put a bunch of money in it, you're probably not going to take it serious. Like, you need to put enough in it where it demands your attention. And almost 200 grand not only demand my attention, Didi was like, hold up, 200 grand, like, what in the world? So it was almost like, you got to make the New York Times bestsellers list. Why? Because if you don't, for you, it was a waste.
Mm.
Why? Because that was the goal. The goal wasn't to sell a bunch of books. Like, you don't actually make a whole bunch of money, Moose, when you go into a deal with a publishing company. It's not like it's not like speaking, Moose. It's not like speaking. They keep most of the money. They got all the autonomy. Like, they doing the reports. You don't know if the report is right or wrong. They could be skimming off the top. Like, bro, you don't know. You lose a lot of control. And we've never done anything before with anybody. We never took a loan from a bank. So we are used to having almost 90% control of our stuff. So it wasn't about money. I don't know that we're going to make tons of money from it. It was, you get on the New York Times bestsellers list, you can go from charging $75,000 to $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the money is not in the book. The money is in now the course that I sell because of the book, because of the mastermind that comes with the book, the course that I sold to online university. That's where the money comes from. You understand what I'm saying? So to not get the New York Times, for me, because again, Nikki, we're talking about brand strategy. And brand strategy is not universal. It's very specific to the brand. And so we had to get the New York Times bestsellers list. And so I'm talking about, it was neck and neck going down the stretch, bro. It was neck and neck because you have to do it. You have to sell so many in a week. So it's not like 40,000 over 3 weeks. It's like you got to do that in that week. And so we were fortunate to get on a couple lists a couple times. You feel what I'm saying? So again, you said it. Do it once, they call it luck. Do it twice.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So we had to do it multiple times to show. And then we were fortunate enough, I do want to say this is important. I don't personally have it. They shipped it to my house in Michigan, but they shipped me the copy that had the New York Times bestsellers list. You must understand how significant this is, Moose. Even people who make the New York Times bestsellers list never get a book with the best New York Times bestsellers list on it.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, people need to understand that. Even if you get it, most people don't see a book with it on it. Why? Because most people don't make it to the second reprint. Does that make sense? Is that clear?
100%. Yeah.
So
they normally see it on their
people,
second book afterwards. It'll say bestseller from the past book.
You feel me? So for most people, if the publishing company printed 30 or 40,000, you don't see it because you never sell 40,000 books again. It's like for most people, after that first surge, it's over for them. So we were among the group that not only made the New York Times bestsellers list, we were on the group of a reprint.
You came back for seconds.
So we made the reprint. So in the reprint, you're going to see that on there. And we believe that you'll continue to see it on there. So now what we're looking for is 100,000. New York Times bestseller, over 100,000 sold. Over 250,000 sold. 500,000 sold. 1 million sold. So that's the goal, to one day have a print that says over 1 million sold.
Wow.
It's the goal now.
Yeah. And you got you got to keep doing it though, Nikki, to Moose's point. No, it's not that ET wants to keep growing and developing. It demands it. Right. Like success demands it. Like, what have you done for me lately? I think that song blew up because it's so much a part of the American fabric. It's so much a part of capitalism that nobody cares what you did on the 10th episode. That's why I'm back again at the 100th mark. That's why I'm back. I'm back because nobody cares about the 10th boy. And nobody wants to hear me talk about what I talked about on the 10th boy.
Right.
Wow.
That's so true. Now, with you saying all this, it shows that like this book, this right here has so much like power and leverage. I want to actually talk about the leverage part because you already knew with the goal, okay, this is going to be a bestseller. I got other products and services that if I know all these eyes are going to be on this book, if I mention it in the book, those eyes are going to be on those programs too. The one I'm speaking in particular is the flight assessment, right? Was that the strategy whole time before we get into, the whole relaunch of that? Was that the strategy this whole time? I knew, okay, we're going to leverage this to bring true brand awareness to the other program that's already working. I'm not going to put in these other programs, but this one that's working, then is going to be an instant conversion.
Yeah, Nikki, somebody sat me down and was like, bruh, I don't want you to be deceived about books. Like you're not in the book industry. Like this is your first time. So don't be deceived. This is a large business card.
Wow.
That's all this is. This is a large business card. And like I said, working with the publishing company, bro, it's a business. Like it is what it is. They limit me on what I could put in there. You know what I'm saying? They like, no, we don't want you, you know what I'm saying, making money off of something we're not going to benefit off of because we're doing this in collaboration, which I totally respect and I totally understand. So we were able to get the flight assessment in there. And I think Moose can attest to that because of it, it was way more eyes on the flight assessment than would have been there without us having it in the book. You know, of course, you know, we're not going to say all 100,000 people, you know, went and took the assessment, but we do know that they saw it, and we do know based on the algorithm that a portion of them went and took a look at it as a result of it. So absolutely, Nikki, it was there. And I do want to make mention, as you look at the back of the book, when you talk about leverage, to have CP3 do the forward, to have Michael B. Jordan. Shout out to the fam. I just found out. I don't even know if I should be saying this or not. I don't want to get in trouble, but I don't. They didn't make me put nothing in writing or not. But I will say that just know that at some point you'll see your boy E.T. on the credits of a movie. Let me just say it that way. Let me just say it
Major
that way.
collab.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Michael B. Jordan is a friend who's trying to use his leverage to help leverage me. And Nicky will tell you, like MBJ probably one of the most like promote my videos than anybody promote in my videos. You know, and I'm not talking about celebrities. I'm just talking about people in general. B gonna put some emphasis on my stuff and do what he can to use his platform. Then of course Dion show mad love. I had people hit me all the time like, "Hey, Dion got your book on his desk, and every time he do a video, you can see your book." You know, so my guys, and then of course Ed Milet. Ed put me on his show. I'm continuously seeing a bunch of new supporters following us that would have never supported us without Ed showing us the love that he showed. You feel me? Without Sean Stevens showing. There's a few shows that I was on. And then I did build a relationship with some of those people and then help push their book as well. You know, so yes, 1,000%, 1,000%, Nicky, it's a big business card. And don't write a book thinking that the book itself gonna make you millions and millions and millions. The publishing company and you gonna share that however y'all share it. Now, I will say, I'm probably, if I decide to go back with the publishing company, which is like 50-50 for me, they would have to do way more for me than was done. And I get it. The first one, Moose, they like only printed so many because they like, man, E, we hear you and your optimism, but at the end of the day, bro, we running numbers. we got stats. We don't know that you're gonna be able to, but I think when you hit that 100,000 mark in a couple months, it's like, oh, okay, it's for real. You know what I'm saying? Like he got something there. You know, so yeah, Nicky, a lot of ways to leverage it. I'm sure we haven't leveraged it every way to leverage it, and we ain't finished leveraging it. But yes, it took the brand, like I said, from 75 to 200,000. We had to even get a new EPK, and a part of that was because we got to say we the New York Times Bestseller. We on that list. You feel me? So yeah. Brand strategy, y'all, all day, every day.
Moose, I'm stealing your question real quick because this is going to involve you too. Apologize.
Okay.
Apologize. Okay.
Okay.
Follow me with this one. Because I mentioned the flight assessment, right? And there is a whole relaunch, rebrand with that in itself that both of you are very involved with, clearly, right? So my question, and this could have been strategic. We do the book, we do the rebrand, the launch, everything like that. Why did you take something that was already, people knew about the flight assessment, it was already impacting people's lives, but now with everything that's playing out, let's launch this brand new, give it a new look, give it a new swag, new, not necessarily new mission, but give it a new feel. Why was that so important to do, and why was there a rebrand?
Okay, now I can't speak for Moose, but I will say for myself, it's like, yo, when you hit the New York Times bestsellers list, you're not just Nicky in front of your social media group.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I know what my group needed. And my group might have been like, D1, and while Alabama, Michigan State, Florida Gators, while they got a pretty dope brand, the NFL is a different brand.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL is a whole different brand. Like they're using different graphic artists, or those graphic artists are given more liberty to take it to another level when it comes to them boys. It's just a different level. And so I realized we had positioned ourselves for our brand. But one of the things that happen when you hit the New York Times bestsellers list, or when your book is doing well, now you're on the front cover of Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Apple pushing your book now. We just got a call. It was during the holiday season where they were like, "Hey, there's this like gold box that Amazon has, And it was like, yo, you made it to the gold box. And the gold box means that as we're promoting, your stuff about to be, like, we got a time frame where we just pushing your stuff out. Well, if people are seeing us on Apple, people are seeing us on Amazon, now we have to brand toward that group of people. And we got to look like Apple look. And we got to look like Amazon look. And so for me, it was like, all right, we gotta hit the refresh button, because our demographic is not the only people that have their eye on us. You feel what I'm saying? It's another group that has their eye on us, and we need to get in front of that group. So for me, that was the thing. I wanted it to be parallel. And believe it or not, man, it's funny that you say that, Nikki. It's like you do so much that you forget a lot of the stuff that happens. But the flight assessment strategy and the book strategy, they were parallel. Them jokers was like, one was on 32nd Street, one was on 34th Street.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And they were both going, trying to get the broad. You know what I'm saying? So that's a deep question you asked. But yes, it was very strategic. That, man, we don't want people going to our site and going, oh man, maybe it was luck that they hit maybe he really shouldn't be charging that amount. You feel me?
Moose, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was definitely a legacy move. I think at the end of the day, it was so important to having interjected so much energy, language, creativity, and connection for our culture and our demographic around how the flight assessment can revolutionize people's lives. It was very important that we made it ours in a very unique way. And so the reconstruction and the re-engineering of every single word that you see on that page, that was a custom one-of-one design that took, I think it took us nearly 18 months in development to get it done. So, I think it just so happened to fall on the timing of the book, and they almost released side by side.
Right.
But definitely the piece of a big legacy move and the importance of continuing to keep things fresh and new. We often think that when something is working, okay, don't worry about it, just leave it as it is. Those are the things that you actually need to reinvest in and relaunch. And so the flight assessment 2.0, just to give it its complete proper name, has been relaunched, at least from a very soft launch kind of standpoint. And then, of course, in the new year, we're going to be doing the same thing with extreme execution and revamping a new level of that as well. So, yeah, big moves on that side.
Yeah, big moves.
My bad, Moose. I didn't mean.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a good follow up. My apologies.
No, great.
No question.
Great position.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
And it was best that you do it, so it doesn't seem like you know what I'm saying, he was he didn't want to seem cocky or arrogant. You know what I'm saying? So it's a smooth move.
Right. He would have been like, we launched this and we.
Right. That's what we did. That's what we did.
His swag. It's not his swag.
Yeah, no, for sure. But hey, if anything at all, if you could start over today, whether with the book, heck, with the whole brand, if you could do anything differently, if you could make one move differently, what would it be? I
would have included every person that's a part of the product. I would have included them from the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They would have been in that very initial meeting I was having, because they had to play a lot of catch up, and I lost a lot of the stuff that I said in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It's like I lost it. Like, somebody asked me a question. Of course I can answer your question, but I can't give you that energy and, that level of detail that I gave in the very beginning when me and C was together, and we were together, with the writing coach, Leslie. Like, I can't take you back to that. But if I could have taken you back to that, you feel what I'm saying? If I could have taken you back to me, Leslie, CJ meeting, the publishing company, LaShawna with the contract going back. If I could have just took everybody into that, people would have understood. And here's the one thing, man, and for those of you who are, you're doing business, man, like, I have messed up so much with not communicating effectively and communicating clearly. Like, I have a way that I communicate. that's super comfortable to me, that I actually love. And like CLT sometimes, like with the cryptic, but your message is so cryptic. Bro, I remember when I was a teacher, the one thing that my principal and the board loved about me was I had the ability to understand the cryptic, like writing and speaking of a lot of students, and I could help them get on track because I could understand them. Whereas other teachers like would judge them on pretty much whatever the standard was. Like they started with the standard, and these kids didn't start with the standard. They were very effective communicators. They just didn't communicate with the standard, of academia, which is probably going to be way more air traffic controller, way more succinct, what I'm saying, way more analytical, way more perfectionist, what I'm saying, way more, super succinct and linear. And these kids did not communicate like that. But I could take their gibberish and bring some sense of structure and order to it. Like I've always had the ability to simplify stuff, but I still speak the way I speak. And so I've done a disservice to, and I've complicated and hurt a lot of the progression and movement we could have had I been able to communicate with more clarity. You feel me? And that's the thing I realized with Rory, even though in many regards, and I don't say this to be disrespectful, I don't want people to hear this the wrong way, but the way he communicates naturally aggravated me. The way he communicated naturally irked me. It did not energize me, and I had to learn, hey, this may not be the way you communicate, but this is important because when you communicate like this, all of the details are laid out. And when people are informed in the right way, they're able to use their gifts and talents more effectively. But when the communication is off, people will either use their gift and they will misappropriate it, you feel me? And or they'll get frustrated, you feel me? And it was like that communication is a part of brand strategy. Not just the strategy itself, but the way you communicate the strategy is also critical. And so I would have just had everybody that's a part of this to get in coming in the beginning so they wouldn't be ignorant, even though they're doing their job. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing it to some extent without the right information or without the right processes. And so at the end of the day, it's gonna impact and affect your outcomes. And I'll say this: I did not hear individually. I did not hear that. So I heard individual sales, and I communicated to my people that I need you to go to the store individually and grab the book. But what they end up doing was going to the book and getting all 5 books off the shelf. And I thought they was doing something, and they thought they was doing something. But they were really hurting me because now if somebody else came in the store, there was no books for them to buy. And they bought 5 books, but those 5 books were counted as an individual
on sale
purchase. It wasn't counted as 5 individual books.
Wow.
And so this is what I mean by the importance of communication and being able to understand. And the flight assessment helps with that. And even though I know the flight assessment, I still got it 82% right. I didn't get it 100% right because I would have said, okay, if you're going to get all 5 books, I'm not mad at you, but use 5 different charge cards.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Or
Swipe
do
five
5 separate transactions. But for you to buy 5 books is really hurting me. It's not helping me. Now, I shouldn't say it's not helping me. It is helping me.
Not in that way.
But yeah, right. So Barnes and Noble geeked. Yeah, Barnes and Noble's geeked. Barnes and Noble's like, ain't no more books on the shelf. We got to buy more because people are buying it. So in essence, yes, that part was helpful. But the fact that you went to the cash register and you bought them with 1 charge card, that part wasn't successful. So yes, the strategy, the brand strategy was there, but I could have listened and understood better, and I could have communicated better. So if everybody would have been at the table when Rory was explaining it, then people would have been able to go, hey, no, don't do that. Do this. Okay, when I post this, I need to do that. Okay, when we do that, okay, we need to do that. So So yes, that's what I would do over.
So as we winding this down, I'm really curious, and you mentioned in that last part the key of communication. When we're thinking about our brands, our businesses, and we're launching something, but we still have like a personal life, we still have family. Like, what is that work life balance for you during some of those really busy times, like launch, like events, and things like that? What does that work life balance look like for you?
I don't know if there's a such thing of work-life balance, but I do know work and life are more balanced when you get everybody that's involved.
Mm,
And one of the things that I realized before this project, which helped me with this project, is like, you're doing a lot of stuff for your family, but you've never even asked your family if that's what they want you to do for them.
mm,
Like you never, like you like, I'm doing this for you, Didi. Are you really doing this for Didi? Because Didi don't know you're doing it for her.
all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Didi sees it as a distraction. So maybe you should ask Didi if that's what you want, if that's really what you want. And so one of the things I did with the book that was different was Didi was involved, a little bit more in the process, at least not the process, but knowing what's going on and being able to have her input. Like, nah, I don't really want to travel there. Nah, I don't really want to do that. Nah, I don't really think that's smart. I think you in your feelings. Like, I don't think you should do that. Nope, I wouldn't do that if I were you. So she had an opportunity to hear it and then give her, whatever. And then it was like, okay, after you finish doing all of this, we need to go away. And so, of course, we went to Escaret. We didn't go to Escaret. We went to Escaret, but it's other property, and did the presidential suite for a week. And that was a part of Didi, like, yo, you need to unwind when you finish, But because she understood the process, she understood I can't ask you to stop here or I can't ask you to stop there, but I can't ask you to stop here. And so, yeah. So to me, the more you get the people involved that are supposed to be involved in your work and your life, and the more autonomy you give them, I think sometimes it's not even what you do, it's them feeling like they're a part of the process and they have a say-so in it. That's more critical than even the work-life balance, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yep.
Man, hey, I don't want to rob the people because, Nicky and I are blessed to have so much access to you, but recap for us, of course, as one year closes in a new year, or just like the idea of a new year in general. Recap one personal aha moment, a marriage aha moment, and a professional aha moment.
Okay, so what was the first one?
Personal.
So a personal aha moment is you are, and I want to use the right term because I don't want to use amazing. I want to use amazing for those of you who hear me. I don't want to use it for me, but I want you to hear it as you are more amazing than you think. Like you are more gifted and talented as you think. Like you have more influence on the world than you think. Use it. It was like, bro, like we're starting a church plant first, and then Atlanta, and then Houston, and it was like people were like, "Yo, what took you so long? We've been waiting for you to." Even Rory was like, when I met Rory and we started working on the book, he was like, the only reason I chose to do this, you changed my wife's life, bruh. Thus, you changed my life. Those videos changed our life. And I didn't know how powerful I was. And I didn't know how, just like the essence of who I am. Like people, man, just you being you, bruh. Like you changed me just being you, bruh. Like you don't come across as perfect. Like you transparent. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, bruh, it's like you help us even though you don't always get paid off. And I was like, yo, I didn't know the influence that I had, man. I told you when Michael B. Jordan invited me to, it was like Michael B. Jordan invited me and they hit me like, bro, you don't know what it meant to have you thinking it was just an hour or two of your time, but bro, you didn't know. And I was like, yo, I didn't know Dion hit bro. I love you, bro. Like keep doing. Steve Harvey hit me up like now and then, bro. Like the content you putting out, what you doing for the people, bro, we love you, bro. We support you, bro. And it was like, I live in a vacuum. I don't really, you feel me? Marriage aha moment was we still both, deal with rejection and we holding back because we both afraid that if we do this, the other person may not, and yet we all we got. What are we afraid of? Like why? Like we actually holding back without even knowing we holding back. It's like, no, I'm here to meet your needs. You're here to meet my needs. So let's talk every day about, did I meet your needs? And if I didn't, why didn't I? And what do I need to do? Like, why are we guessing or why are we tiptoeing around each other to kind of be like, should I say that? Should I ask that? Should I do that? It's like, no, we love each other. Like we together. So it's like we all we got at the end of the day in terms of this level of intimacy. So it's like, what are we walking on eggshells, or why are we worried about? It's like, man, you might have wanted to do that, and I was too afraid to ask you if you wanted to do it, or we might both wanted to do it, and we didn't want to ask if we both wanted to because we didn't want to feel rejected if we both asked each other. It was like, scared money don't win, boy. You know that. So stop doing it in your relationship. So that was the aha moment in my relationship. It was like, yo, put all the cards, show all your cards, fam. Show all of them. You're not doing nothing by holding them back. You don't want to be with nobody else. You're not trying to go nowhere. So you keep talking this all in stuff, but you still got that thing. My dad wasn't in my life. I still some rejection is just like, just let the rejection thing go, bro. Like it's not real. It's fake. And I sit there and think of how many dates we could have taken if I would have just asked her. I'm assuming she tired, or I'm assuming she don't really want to do that, or I'm assuming she don't want to go. It's like, stop doing that, bro. Scared money don't win. Just, you know what I'm saying? You got to know when to fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, E, go ahead and do your thing, fam. So that was the marriage one. What was the other one?
Professionally.
Yeah, professionally, that I am a businessman. It's like, you're not just no preacher, bro. You're not just no care about people. Like, you're not just no, relationship dude that help people professionally. I mean, spiritually and personally. You're not. You're a businessman. And you need to be a billionaire because you're going to show other people how to do it. And you're going to share. Man, look, Jamal said to me the other day, he's like, yo, E, bro, like, man, like, I can't, like, E, you taught me something, bro. And I'm like, Mom, stop tripping. He's like, no, I'm for real. I was like, bro, whatever. He's like, no, E, I take care of my family. E, I would have never thought to take a group of kids to the Super Bowl or to Dubai. Like, I would have never used my resources like that, E. Like, bro, like, you care about people on a whole nother level, E. And I was like, wow, I'm teaching Jamal. That's business. Like, that whole, it's the business why I do it, because I make money, so I get to create a nonprofit and a for-profit. You feel me? And most people just do a for-profit. Or if they do a nonprofit, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like in their heart. It's like, for business purposes, we're going to do this. And God was like, you are a businessman. Act like it. You are a billionaire. Go out here and broker these deals, bro. Sit at these tables. Make this stuff happen. Make other people's lives better. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been like, all right, if I do right by the brand, whatever Nicky touch, they like, yo, Nicky with E. So I know directly and indirectly that's going to be a blessing. Yo, Moose with E. Indirectly, I know that's going to be a blessing. Now I'm like, don't just do the indirect blessing. Do the direct blessing now. Do the direct blessing, E. Flat out. Do the direct blessing. You know the information. You know what to tell people. Stop playing games. Tell them what needs to be said and put them in a better position. So that was the aha moment. Like, bro, you're a businessman. Stop saying he won, she won, they won. Them. No, you won. You're a billionaire, E. You think like a businessman. Go for it. Don't let your spirituality be a hindrance. Actually, when I think of Chick-fil-A, let your values move your business, infuse your business. Yeah.
That's good.
Propel with
I
the
like
word.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
Last question, and it's one of the questions I ask you every single year. New year, new vision. What are we doing? What's that looking like for overall brand? What does that look like for the audience? Because our job is to impact the world. So what is the vision for the new year?
So two, and the first one comes with an apology. I'm sorry. You know, I did not know how to give you God and give you money. So I just gave you God. You know, I didn't know how to do both. I didn't want you to get caught up in, I didn't want you to get caught up in, you making money and you got the popularity and you got the whatever. You know, one of the things I tell people as an OG, and Nicky's probably been with me for a minute. We've seen a lot of people who was on top on social media that you can't find them no more.
Facts.
So a lot of people think that because you blow up, you're gonna stay blew up, and that's not it. As a matter of fact, most people, the social media will allow you to blow up in a way that your character cannot sustain it. So for most of you, your problem is going to be you're going to grow faster with your popularity and maybe with your money than your character, like you as a human, are able to sustain. And maybe you don't pay attention, but if you ever got on an elevator, there's a capacity. There's a capacity. Like you just can't put everybody and their mama on the elevator. And it's not numbers, it's size. And so we all have a capacity. We all have a capacity. You go to an event that only so many people can be in this room. The actual space that you're in has a capacity. And for a lot of you, your social media is going to put you in a situation where it would allow you to bring more people in the elevator than you're actually able to house. And I've always been afraid. So I've taught you character and I've taught you God, and you've had to go other places to figure out about money. And so you've gone to some people who will not teach you how to stay in a successful relationship. Right? I tell people all the time, my greatest success is that me and C is still together, that me and Nicky are still together, that Moose and I are still together. Because for most people, man, C just called me with a company we working with, and they're like, yo, they ain't together no more. They still doing the business, but so-and-so. I said, what? But then I watched them on social media, and I'm like, oh, your swag is different. I see what's happening. That celebrity thing is starting to bleed. And so for me, I'm always grateful for, we got our challenges like everybody else, because ain't nobody, we don't all think alike. We're not Siamese twins. But the ability to reason together and to compromise and to say, hey, what do you need? Because we're going to always make money. So money is never going to be our hookup. It's never going to be our hookup. We're going to always make money. We cannot always have these relationships. We're not going to always find these quality of people. It's just not going to happen. And then if we are, I don't want to start all over again anyway. So the next person I'm going to meet is going to be a human, and they're going to be a pilot, a flight attendant, a ground crew, or air traffic control. I'm not about to find another creature. So it's like, yo, let's figure out character-wise what we got to do. Because whatever we beefing about, if we stay together, we're going to fix it. And then as we figure it out, we're going to make more bread anyway because we together. And so I apologize that I didn't know how to teach you how Didi and I stayed together and how we made money. I didn't know how to show you how, I did the church and did marriage and did relationships and did Michigan State and wrote books. Like I didn't know how to show you. So I just gave you the thing that was most important. That was God and character. And so a lot of you was like, man, E, where's the behind the scenes? E, we're not seeing your videos. We're not seeing how you're doing it. Which leads me into the next thing. The first thing is I have to apologize and I have to do it publicly so that you can understand why I wasn't doing it. Because I didn't want you to go after the money and then lose everything. What is a man that gains the whole world and loses his soul? And I don't even mean heaven. I ain't even talking about heaven or nothing like that. I'm talking about you building up with one hand and then you tear everything down because you just ain't character ready for it. Your integrity, you're not ready for it. Bro, you understand the influence that I have, that if I wasn't who I am in terms of character, you know how many women I could have destroyed? You know how many men I could have destroyed, how many families I could have destroyed if I was immature with this? So I'm building up. I'm not tearing down. I'm not using my influence or my charisma to hurt people or to manipulate people. You know how much more money I could have made doing stuff that I know you weren't ready for? I know how to talk to you to make you give me money, even though you wouldn't have necessarily benefited from the product. I know how to do that. So it leads me to what is the real goal in 23. The new goal is for every one of you that watch these videos and get inspired by it, we're going to put the type of document together, the type of course together, the type of conference together, that after you get that energy to run through a wall, you will know the 1,450 steps it's going to take you to reach the top. We're going to show you how to get from the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs to self-actualization. And so you'll literally have a document. You might be like, yo, E, I'm way past step 1. Okay, well, you can start at step 152. E, man, I'm way past that. I'm making money. I just can't stay in relationships. Well, that's 352. Come on at step 352. So we're going to give you a document that's going to allow you to know where you are and then know how to get to where you're trying to get to. And I apologize that the videos just gave you the energy, gave you the hope, gave you the mindset, but it didn't give you the steps. 2023, you'll have the physical steps you need to help you to succeed.
Sheesh. Moose?
Man, I can't follow that up. You're just going to have to release the mic right there. Yeah, let them have it. Let them have it.
All right. So, look, please, if you don't, the two people who don't follow E already, go follow him everywhere. E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, every platform, okay? Normally, we let Moose do the final words, but of course, new year, E, give him the final words.
Man, but trust yourself, man. Believe yourself, and do me a favor. May this not be the year that you focus on reputation, but on character. Reputation is what people think about you. And let's not trip. It does matter. But reputation is rudimentary. It's elementary work. Character is the real work. And let me tell you something. If your character is right, you will never lose whatever you gain. Why? Because character is what you do in the dark. It's what you do when nobody's watching. Reputation is building something phenomenal on sand. And when the winds and the waves come, and they will come, it's going to knock the sand stuff down. The sand work going to get knocked out. But if you do the real work, the long, hard, tedious grind work, if you do it the right way, that's character. When that rain and them storms hit, it's not going to destroy your foundation. It's not going to destroy your structure. So may this not be the year of reputation. May this be the year of character. And don't lie. God is going to give you opportunities that he's giving you. This ain't your first relationship you're going to be in. This ain't the first money you're going to make. This ain't the first time, you go, get your 15 seconds of glory. This ain't the first time. But may this be the time you manage what God gives you so that you can hold on to and keep it forever.